One of my most interesting Pokemon that I've covered in multiple videos on this channel this generation has got to be Sunflora. If Cloth is my editor's favorite Pokemon that I've featured this gen, Sunflora might be my personal one. And I'm a big campaigner for this Pokemon actually being super viable. And there's one set in particular today that I always go to. And I think that for anyone who might be interested in a Pokemon to enable their Trick Room modes, this could be an option that you could try out. And if you want to see some more Sunflora action, I'm going to set a like goal. For Cloth, we have actually almost hit that goal. We're 11 more likes on that video from getting another Cloth video somehow. I don't know how you guys did that, but good job on you guys. If you're looking forward to some Flora gaming content, we're gonna set that same goal, 50 likes, and I'll do another Sunflora team with different Pokemon on it. But I have a core that I know this video is already getting a really long rambly builder, but this does deserve some context because back in Regulation C, I was at a Hartford Regional with my good buddy Calvin, and I almost actually brought Sunflora to the regional. And that was a whole different team. It was a very good team. I showed it on the channel. I think the team had a lot of merit. It was a team that I almost actually also brought to NASC. Calvin actually very much pushed for me to do it because it was the team I was laddering the best with before NASC. But that's a whole separate ramble. I could frankly make an entire video on just the amount of times I've considered Sunflora at official events and done well with it in practice. Sunflora, I think, has a lot of merit in just VGC this gen. It is such a unique pick, and I think that there was one Pokemon in particular I was waiting on that obviously it's in the thumbnail. It's Walking Wake. And while I don't think it's the best Pokemon in this current format, I actually think it has a lot of problems right now. I think Walking Wake is the objective perfect partner for Sunflora as it clears through a lot of bad matchups. Starting off though, let's go over our Sunflora set. I think it's an important place to start with. And we're going to be Room Service Tera Ground. Now this set is Earth Power, Energy Ball, Protect, and Dazzling Gleam. And there's a very specific IV here actually that makes or breaks Sunflora. If you are hunting for this team, you need specifically a 2 or 3 IV in your speed on Sunflora. And this is like a non-negotiable thing if you want it to really work out, because this is a perfect creep for Amoonguss with the pre-Trick Room on Room Service. Meanwhile, for post-Trick Room, you can underpace Torkoal by 1 point. It is the perfect benchmark here, and any lower IV means that you tie Amoonguss pre-Trick Room because you are a base 30 speed Pokemon, and any faster of an IV means that you get outpaced by Torkoal post-Trick Room, which does cause a lot of issues because it's the Sun boosted Pokemon and you're going for a neutral Tera type. It will still blow you back with Eruption. But Tera Ground is very important. This is great for revenging off opposing Torkoal in Trick Room because it is like the slowest Pokemon that is practical for a Trick Room speed tier. It's also great for matchups into Amoonguss because, for example, if it's going for Tera Water, you have Energy Ball. If it's Tera Fire, you have Earth Power. If it is pre-Tera, your Torkoal should bully it anyway, as well as other Pokemon on this team. Sunflora, in my opinion, actually is like the perfect anti-Trick Room Pokemon. It's generally just a really strong pick. I think it counters a lot of other slower things as well, like Iron Crown really well. It's great into Archaludon, which is really prevalent. I think it has a lot of merit here. And Gleam is also great into a lot of the dragons that would otherwise typically sponge this. It has been my savior against Roaring Moon ever since Regulation B. And truly, again, I think this is like the perfect optimal way to run Sunflora. There's truly not a better set. Maybe you could tweak the defense a little bit. I'm curious if anyone actually has ways to tweak the defense a little bit, but I think conceptually this is the best moveset, item, Tera type, IV set on Sunflora that you could be running. Now that I spent like 4 minutes talking about Sunflora, let's breeze through the other members of the team. They honestly are a lot more self-explanatory. Up next we have Torkoal. This is support Torkoal with Tera Dragon, great for a lot of the different incoming water types, gets your neutral typing to ground. It's great for Ogerpon matchups, and with Heat Wave, Eruption, Fissure, and Overheat, this is overall a great enabler into my Sunflora. The physical defense hits our physical defense bump. With Fissure, it's great at breaking through stall cores or just general bulky Pokemon that might struggle to be broken by other offense, because a lot of the team is so offensive that I just did not need a Heat Wave Eruption Torkoal. And Eject Pack allows us a much easier time bringing in Sunflora anyway, so we can keep it up under Trick Room to proc the Room Service, which should overall just be much smoother for the team. Up next we have Tera Grass, Rocky Helmet, and Indeedee. This is a great Urshifu Rapid check because post-Tera on Sunflora, we get bullied by it. Torkoal gets bullied by it without going for Tera. A lot of our other Pokemon don't really like Urshifu Rapid. It's also just great into things like Raging Bolt and a lot of other prevalent offensive Pokemon right now. With Helping Hand, we enable our damage a lot more. Really, this is just standard Indeedee, Max Fizz Def. This is also great though as a nice partner for our Hatterene. With Expanding Force, Life Orb, Tera Fire, this is a great check to Torkoal as well with the Tera Fire. I find it being the best Tera typing for Hatterene because it's great for opposing Trick Room Pokemon that would otherwise blow us up. This is a Spin-F Hatterene. I actually meant to make this offensive, so I'm very sorry to whoever got this team as a rental. I'm gonna leave it on the rental because I've already gotten the video recorded. But if you're trying team at home, go with max special attack. Don't do it. I didn't go max special defense. It probably defaulted to that because I was lacking mystical fire. But overall, it's a really strong Trick Room setter for what it's worth. It's a really good offensive piece, even without the offense investment, in my opinion. You'll still find a lot of success if you just take the rental verbatim. But if you try the team at home, go max special attack and swap the special attack and special defense investments. Up next, we have Walking Wake. This is a very important investment because Walking Wake is great for getting a speed boost to be a nice fast mode, similar to how Flora main was on Trick Room and Regulation B and C. You have Hydro Steam, Draco Meteor, Flamethrower, and Protect. This is great at taking advantage of a lot of Trick Room cores. It's great at taking advantage of Pokemon like Amoonguss that would otherwise bully a lot of Trick Room routes. With Tera Water, we can lean into Hydro Steam, which is great because not only does that benefit from our sun, because it's boosted by the sun, but it's also great for Rain, which is like a really easy way for Tornadus to try and bully this team otherwise. Walking Wake will not care. It's just going to blow teams up with Tera Water. And with the booster speed in this investment, we guarantee proc booster speed over special attack. And it's overall just a really nice special wall breaker here for a fast mode. Finally, we have a Tera Poison Focus Sash Urshifu. I mentioned this in my Urshifu vid. It's one of the best Trick Room enablers right now. And with Focus Sash, Tera Poison, this is great around Flutter Main. With Wicked Blow, Sucker, Close Combat, and Detect, this is just a great trade Pokemon. Essentially, think of it as like a Final Gambit Ape, but more appropriate for modern VGC. Now that I've went through the extensive Sunflora history and how to use the team, if you want to try it out, the run is on screen here, as well as the paste in the description below. With that said, let's get some Sunflora battles going on right now. All right, we are back. I figured since we have gotten through vacation time, all the vacation bulk recording, this is post-vacation. I'm recording this literally, I don't want to talk about how close it is. Honestly, it makes me kind of uncomfortable thinking about it because of how ahead we have been recently. It is really weird to think about. We're here with the team. We're taking on standard Torn offense. In all honesty, this is just standard Torn. We're going to lead off with, I kind of like the idea of leading off with Indeedee or Urshifu, and then we're going to go with Torkoal and Sunflora. I do think Sunflora actually does have a lot of merit in this game. I probably threw Walking Wake on the thumbnail. Honestly, I'm not even sure if Wake is going to come to a game today, and I'll kind of explain that while we're introing to this battle. But essentially, objectively, the thumbnail is going to be Wake and Sunflora. I've already made the thumbnail, and I was going to record this team for Sunday, actually, but it's 4 in the morning. This vid goes up at 9, as in the middle of the week, I decided to switch my upload time. Really helps a lot in this case. Point being, though, is that it's because of that, the thumbnail's already made. It was the easiest thumbnail to make of the bunch. And to be fair, I think that Wake does illustrate the point better that I'm trying to make, because this is a Sun team, and Wake is an essential part of clearing level Sunflora's checks. That's also something I probably hopefully broke down in the builder. But Wake also isn't that great right now, so I don't know if Wake will even touch a game. I think Urshifu is generally like a lot better at enabling the team, but Wake is such a crux to why the team can conceptually work. That's why I got thumbnail, I guess. Anyway, now that the battle has already started, we're going to go for Trick Room this turn immediately. I need to go for Terra Grass as well, because that should hopefully help with just getting up the Trick Room. I've noticed that Indeedee has had to set Tera a lot with this sort of team, which is, I have mixed feelings on it, but it's kind of fine. We're just going to target down the Raging Bolt, because it will probably not burn a Tera Fairy on this, I feel like. I mean, maybe they burn Tera Fairy, to be fair, but I can't. Oh, actually, to be fair, Indeedee went for Tera Grass first, so they definitely not go for Tera Fairy. If they're really slower than Indeedee, that's actually a really slow Raging Bolt, because they typically creep above it. But anyway, we're going to go for Wicked Blow. That's just about half. That's great. We reserve Focus Sash as well. They're going to go for Wicked Blow into my Indeedee. So unless they're going for a Dragon-type move, this should be really good, because Indeedee can guarantee up Trick Room. Thunderbolt, perfect. That is great, because Indeedee can't take that. That's a great reason for Terra Grass. It is mostly for Urshifu Rapid, to be fair, but I'll take it. We're going to proceed to go for Helping Hand. Helping Hand should be great into my Urshifu. They would have to... Actually, I'll go for Follow Me, because we know that we can take out the Raging Bolt anyway, and they would have to go for a dual target to even touch my Urshifu. So if they're going to go for... If they're going to go for Protect for 1, I mean, it doesn't really matter, in all honesty. But what will be important, though, is because if they go for like a Thunderbolt plus a Wicked Blow this turn, I'm kind of fine with that. They would essentially have to go for Discharge to actually kill my Urshifu this turn. But by doing so, they're breaking their own Urshifu Sash, and I'm kind of fine with that. Gleam could also be another click here for what it's worth, as that would break my opponent Urshifu's Focus Sash. But I don't really know if I need to click it. I think that, honestly, just gunning down the Raging Bolt and getting my Sunflora in would be a lot better for the team. And I'm going to manage that. I think that's going to be safer for us overall. Because Sunflora can do a lot in this particular line, actually. Because their Raging Bolt is going to go down, I'm a lot less reliant on Earth Power, which is great because I don't really want to Tera Sunflora in this current matchup. I can't Tera it anyway, to be fair. But it is still nice to clear that mon. They're going to just barely live. Okay, so this is turning into more of a Gleam turn, which Gleam is honestly very okay anyway. I could also just go into Torkoal, which I think I'll actually do instead. I'm going to go for Torkoal and go for Heat Wave here. Pick off the Raging Bolt, and then I'll go for a Fighting move in Urshifu, try and claim both down. And then I'll endgame with Sunflora, as I think that'll be a bit smoother. While I don't think that Urshifu will go for something like a Tera Poison on my Sunflora to take on the Sash hit, well, to take on the Gleam, I don't really want to fuck around with it either. So I'd rather just go for Heat Wave in all honesty, and then I'll go for a Wicked Blow. I'll go for the Wicked Blow and a Raging Bolt in case they go for Protect, because I do kind of want Raging Bolt gone. Not that I think it's a huge threat, but I just, the game is easier without it existing. And if I could just take that out, that's great. I'm confident that Urshifu will just drop anyway. The reason I'm clicking Heat Wave though is because if they're, yeah, so they're going to go for Detect here. They're going to fail it. If they're not going to protect Raging Bolt though, then this combination of moves at least is better because I would rather hopefully again just target the Urshifu down. So we're going to do that. I could have probably clicked Close Combat for what it's worth, but yeah, that Close Combat actually probably would have been smarter in hindsight if that was the reason I was making the play. But it's still fine either way. Honestly, this really isn't a huge concern. The Urshifu is still going to be punished. Meanwhile, my opponent is going to have to bring in something. It's not going to appreciate the combination of Torkoal Urshifu, so I will definitely take that. If I had to guess, they're going to go into Flutter Mane, or Ogerpon Wellspring and go for Tera. I'm fine with either. They're actually going to go into Torn. Now, Torn is pretty interesting. We still have 2 turns of Trick Room, so I could honestly just go for Heat Wave here, and then I can go for a Wicked Blow. And I could just nail down Torn like that. I think that's a really easy strategy for us. They're going to go for Detect. Sure, they can go for Detect. I really don't actually mind. They're going to go for Rain Dance, though. Rain Dance is kind of whatever, actually. I don't really mind Rain Dance going up because Heat Wave plus Wicked Blow will still do so much to Torn. And I could probably honestly just switch in my Sunflora on the following turn and then gun down the Urshifu. Unfortunately, they are going to take this hit, which is kind of whatever. But thankfully, I actually do have a guarantee out to this. We're going to go into Sunflora here. And then I'm going to go for a Sucker Punch into the Tornadus spot. Essentially, this is mostly to combat like a bulky Torn killing my Urshifu. Because Urshifu is now turning into my Wincon, which is kind of fine. But with this sort of strategy in mind, I can gun down that Torn very quickly. If they don't attack, then I'm not concerned with it. Torn not attacking is always kind of fine for me here. But I'm only concerned about it from a breaking my Focus Sash perspective. Sunflora will come in though. If I have to trade Sunflora, that's kind of unfortunate, but I'm half expecting to this game. I just don't think this was the Sunflora matchup, but perfect. We have now killed the Tornadus. That is a great way for them to have killed my Urshifu and my Sunflora, for that matter, with League Win. But they're going to go for CC. Now, Terrain should end this turn, meaning that I could get off a Sucker Punch into their Urshifu, which is good. If they're going to Sucker Punch me back, that will mean it's going to fail. And their defenses are dropped because they've went for Close Combat, so the Sucker Punch should deal a lot of damage, actually, which is all really good for me. Meanwhile, my opponent only has 1 more Pokemon left. They do have Tera still, and Tera could potentially cause some issues, but I don't know if it's going to matter. They're going to go into Whelpon. Whelpon is fine. Whelpon is actually very fine. I'm going to go into my Torkoal just to weaken Whelpon. That should make Sunflora check this thing very comfortably, and I'm going to go for Sucker Punch into the... I could also go for Detect. I think I'm going to go for Sucker Punch into the Urshifu. I'm a little bit... Actually, no. I'm going to go for a Wicked Blow. No, I'm going to go for a Sucker Punch into Urshifu. Because if they're going to Sucker Punch me back and they lose the speed tie, then that's fine. Because even if my Sucker Punch fails, like a Follow Me Ogerpon, so be it. They would have to directly attack me. And if they are going to benefit on directly attacking my Urshifu, then whatever. I get to bring in some Flora easily and go for like a Gleam plus an Overheat. And I'm kind of okay with that too. But... yeah, Whelpon's gonna go for Follow Me here. Okay, so my Sucker Punch will fail. If they're slower than me, though, theirs will also fail, therefore. So that's kind of fine. And then I can just go for Heat Wave on the next turn. They're gonna go for Wicked Blow. Okay, Wicked Blow is whatever. Torkoal does take it out very confidently. I can now proceed to just go for a Heat Wave here. And then I can go for a Sucker Punch. And I can kind of just keep Sucker Punching Urshifu down until they either let me go for the Sucker Punch or until the Ogerpon just takes too much Heat Wave damage. Because Ogerpon definitely cannot kill me. Even if it goes for Tera, I don't think it can kill me, to be fair, without a dual target here. But it definitely cannot kill me right now. They're going to let me Sucker Punch. That's fine. That means that they're going for an attack. They're going to go for Sucker Punch. That is perfect because they went for it into my Urshifu. Pretty dumb play, I can't lie. I feel like they had no reason to make that play unless they were going to go for Follow Me. But whatever. I'm not here to judge their plays. Whelpon is going to take a nice Heat Wave here. Urshifu is going to die. And this should actually be a really good situation for us because I can now confidently just go for Heat Wave plus Wicked Blow until I lose the match. Well, not until I lose the match. Actually, I guarantee win the match because they cannot take out my Sunflora, funny enough, which it's not on the field, obviously. They're going to forfeit before that. That was all to be expected, to be fair. If you're in this position 1-3 and you know I have a Grass type in the back, you're not winning this with Whelpon. Even if that Grass type is Sunflora, you're just not winning it because Wellpond would have definitely died to a Giga Drain at that point. It was a guaranteed kill. I can confidently say neutral Giga Drain with the sun up for solar power would have killed. I know my calcs. I'm not an amateur with Sunflora. I know my calcs at this point. But I also guarantee got off one more attack no matter what. Wicked Blow is a guaranteed land there, and even if they went for a faster attack, that's fine. I get a guaranteed Heat Wave off. It would have came down to miss, I guess. But even still, again, Sunflora takes one single hit, and I can just kind of kill through until they die. So the game was over because I had the grass type in the back. That really could have been any grass type. I won't act coy as if that had to be Sunflora. Could have been a Mungus. It could have been Rillaboom. It probably could have been like a fucking Thwacky or like a Grookey or like any grass type. But just the grass type existing in the back had more than like 20 base defense. Guarantee won that game because sun was up. So we'll see you guys in game number 2 though. All right, a little bit of a weird team, but I'm kind of okay with it. We are taking on Colossal, Darkspun, Blissey, Armarouge, Flamigo, and Klefki. I'm very much anticipating some sort of weak armor, weakness policy Armarouge with Flamigo. That is the only real reason I can think of running this team. I also think that they've got to have... They're probably Lava Plume on Armarouge to try and pop Steam Engine Coal as well as Darkspun Walking Body. So that is a whole nother line that we need to think about. So Trick Room looks amazing into this team actually because of that. I do need to actually probably backliner Shifu though is the one concern I have here. But I'm kind of okay with it. What I can actually do is I can go straight for the Torkoal Indeedee lead. Or I can even lead... I'm actually going to lead off with Psy Spam. I think Psy Spam is a safer lead here. We will backline... I do still like Sunflora more than Torkoal, actually. I think if I brought a real ground move on Torkoal, it'd be one thing. But I do still stand by Fissure for, like, concept. Because I think Fissure helps pressure a lot of the really stall-heavy teams with, like, like really defensive Dozogiris. With, like, Tera Dragon, for example. This team would only really have, like, Wake, which isn't the best response to that. And then, like, Hatterene. And defensive Tera Dozo really can kind of go a lot of ways. It's the whole mind game. Fissure is just a much more immediate click into that for this team. Just great. Even if Sunflora can technically check every Dozo Tera type, it's just easier. But it's also great for like a lot of other bulky mons. Like it's great for handling Iron Hands before it's out of hand, especially if I don't bring my Psy Spam to a matchup, or if they go for defensive Tera. So I like the Fissure more on this team, but if I had Earth Power, I think it would have been the bringable option over Sunflora in this matchup, as much as I would have loved to bring Sunflora. Because of how I built the team, though, I actually think that Sunflora is the better pick here, because I do need the Earth Power here, specifically for no Tera Armarouge. They are going to lead off with the Armarouge and Darkspun core. So this actually works out really well for me, because I can actually just go for a Trick Room pretty immediately on Indeedee. They cannot comfortably take me out, which is great. Meanwhile, I can go for an Expanding Force with my Hatterene. I could technically go for Tera here. I do kind of like not going for Tera in the immediate moment. And I do kind of like just going for the Expanding Force over, let's say, like a Dazzling Gleam here, because it should hopefully nail the Darkspun before it gets out of hand. Their Lava Bloom won't really matter a lot because it's going to do Jack, even with the crit on Indeedee that does Jack, and they're going to go for Snarl. Sure. Snarl's not a big deal. It's a little bit annoying, I guess, dropping my special attack on Hatterene, but I can get 2 Expanding Forces off before they're going to attack again. So it's kind of whatever. I mean, Dax is still going to take so much damage from that. It's not going to get another attack off. So I think this exchange works well. I will say, I kind of get in practice now, like in this moment, I gotta get why Hatterene does run Covert Cloak. I think in hindsight, maybe Covert Cloak would have been a good play. I just didn't think I needed it with Psy Spam, but I do, in hindsight, like I think that not getting Snarl dropped is probably the better outcome. So if you try the team at home, life lesson for people that didn't, well, that's watched past the builder in like the first 5 minutes, congratulations, you got a nice team idea. I will not include that in the builder to promote you guys, I guess. I don't know. We'll go for Helping Hand here, and we'll go for Expanding Force. That should hopefully make up for the Snarl damage, actually, and this should hopefully get us a really strong Expanding Force here. This should definitely kill Dax, unless they go for Protect. It will do a lot to Armarouge. It won't kill, though, but Dax is definitely dead. And then, meanwhile, Armarouge is going to die next turn, which is great. They could go for, like, a Heat Wave, to be fair. Or, actually, I think they're just locked into Lava Plume, because this is probably a Scarfed Armarouge if it's not Weakness Policy. Which is fine, actually. That's really okay for us. Because, ooh, they burn Indeedee. Actually, that kind of works out well. Because Indeedee can now guarantee drop while Trick Room is up. After, like, another turn or two. And then, meanwhile, my Hatterene is still pretty comfortably alive. And it will still stay comfortably alive at this point. Because it's only -1, and I'm going to get off a really strong Expanding Force, killing the Armarouge. Cole will not do enough. Blissey won't do enough. Flamigo is going to die, unless it's Sash, I guess, which is whatever. I could Gleam and Expanding Force, to be fair. I'd have to burn out Tera. And yeah, like Blissey existing here really does not matter. It really genuinely does nothing for them. Just to be safe, I think I'm actually gonna go for a Trick Room here. No, I don't know if I like Trick Room here. We'll go for... Fuck it, we'll go for Helping Hand, and we'll go for Expanding Force here. If Blissey... Like, I don't mind Blissey actually existing, because I can definitely detect around it with Urshifu. And I can bring in some Flora too to deal damage beforehand and, like, kill the partner spot, get them into a Blissey 1v3, is what it'll probably look like. Because I cannot imagine that both Hatterene and Indeedee make it to the end of this turn. I think that either find a move that can kill Hatterene after the Life Orb chip right now, like a Seismic Toss, for example, or they can just kill Indeedee. Oh, they're going to go for Calm Mind. Okay, really doesn't matter, I guess, unless they're Tera Fairy. If they're Tera Fairy, that starts to kind of get into problematic territory. I don't know if I care, to be honest, but it's a little scarier, objectively, because Blissey is just such a Spadef Titan. But they might honestly just burn Tera, trying to preserve whatever their 4th Pokemon is, because Blissey, I still think, even with Calm Mind, cannot 1v4 my team. Maybe it can, I just don't anticipate it. They're gonna go for Co-Star Flamigo on Calm Mind Blissey. Sure, that's whatever. I really don't care, actually. We'll go for Helping Hand here, and we'll go for Expanding Force here. They could definitely kill both my Pokemon right now, but just going for, like, Protect on Flamigo, and then going for, like, an attack into my hat. And that's kind of whatever. I can still, again, detect around Trick Room. I can also, honestly, just kind of kill this Flamigo with my Urshifu plus some Flora, funny enough. Assuming, obviously, that, it went for a Protect this turn. But yeah, Flamigo's just gonna die because Flamigo's a weak Pokemon, and that +1 does not save it without Tera. So this is great. This is kind of the board state I was talking about. They will probably go for Calm Mind, in all honesty, because their goal should be to just try and take on the Hatterene as well as possible. Which is whatever. I mean, they're gonna forfeit anyway, if we're gonna be completely honest, but they're going for what's optimal to try and get a win con here. Sure, that's fine. Sunflora's gonna come in though. It's gonna take advantage of Room Service, and it will get off some serious damage. Giga Drain plus Expanding Force until my opponent kills is probably gonna be the play, because once something dies, I can then bring in Urshifu. And again, if they're not Tera Fairy, I just Wicked Blow until they drop. I can also even just go for like a Detect on the first turn Urshifu is in to try and scout for what they'll do, which does work out really well actually for us. But my goal here is now to just go for Giga Drain because it's Stab, and I don't really need to click a coverage move on Blissey, and then I go for Expanding Force here because it's Stab and Terrain boosted. And while neither attack is going to deal a lot, it's, again, the fact that Blissey cannot Leftovers recover past this, so it either needs to burn a Soft Boil. Yeah, like, I mean, that's a crit, to be fair. That is kind of sad that it took a crit to do that little. But that's because we don't have Solar Power up, to be fair, and Torkoal is a really good enabler for damage. Sunflora's Shop here is more just to be another Trick Room cog in the machine, but it was kind of nice if Cole came, so I'll take it. They're going to go for Calm Mind again. Sure, whatever. That's kind of fine. We get our Shifu in now, which is great. That's actually really good for us. Sunflora, again, it just kind of needs to exist on the field at this point, which works out well for me. So I'll probably have to go for Detect plus a Giga Drain here. Or, not Giga Drain, Energy Ball. I keep thinking I have Giga Drain, but I have Energy Ball. So this is kind of whatever, though. I just need to scout for Blissey Tera at this point, or like a Soft Boil. If they're going to go for Soft Boil and Tera, that's kind of fine. But Urshifu now just needs to exist to kill. And I just need to make sure that I don't fuck up a turn by going for a move that's going to let Blissey get mileage. So, for example, if Blissey's going to go for, like, a Tera Fairy here, I always click Wicked Blow. If they're going to go for, like, a Tera Steel, though, I probably just click Close Combat and claim my kill. What are they going to click? Tera Fairy, okay. So, Tera Fairy is, like, the scariest type this could go for. If they went for Soft Boil Tera Fairy, I mean, that's a little terrifying, but I can still kind of play around it. They definitely have Calm Mind, though. That's for certain. Urshifu can still muscle this, to be fair. They're going to go for Gleam. Okay, Gleam is fine, actually. I'm kind of fine with Gleam. Because I don't think they kill my Sunflora still, because this is a spread move. And, yeah, Sunflora actually takes nothing from that. That's really good to know. Because they're still going to potentially drop Spadef. I mean, it's 10%. Even still. We're at least maintaining health on this thing, which is good. And then I can go for Tera Poison on Urshifu. Try and preserve health with my Focus Sash here. They have Gleam and Calm Mind, though, which is actually really good to know. If they're not going to Soft Boil this turn, I think I can kill them, actually, which is great. My guess is they're anticipating that they can just kill me right now and that they'll win the game. So that's why they made the play, which if that's why they made the play, that's kind of fair. But it's not going to work out for them because, again, I have Tera Poison. I can beat them in this situation very confidently. So if they didn't Soft Boil here, if they did Soft Boil here, then they might be in a good spot. But they're kind of just waiting until I Spadef drop them, which is great. They did go for Gleam. Okay, so I guarantee win the match. I still do stand by the insurance of this because I can take multiple gleams now, and this was a nice, like, just guarantee piece. So yeah, we get the Spin F drop. As I said, this is kind of what if Blissey was going for softball, they would have had to wait for anyway, because Wicked Blow or Shifu and Sunflora do a good job at not perfectly maintaining, but with one more Spin F drop, it would have been a perfect maintaining of health, to where Blissey now just has to kind of let me Spin F drop it. So we'll definitely take that. We will definitely take that. Unfortunately, Sunflora got gypped in the last game. I'll stand by that. I think Sunflora got absolutely robbed last match because of the opponent forfeiting. I think it did a good job there. This was a ratchet team. I'm going to try and get one more game where we can like really show off Sunflora though. If it runs long, you wouldn't have seen this game anyway because it was a really dumb matchup. But we'll see you guys in the next match. Alright, we actually have a matchup I can bring Walking Wake to. I can't lie, I really didn't think I'd find win this video because Walking Wake has gotten to a point where the meta has evolved in a way to where it was a fringe piece. I think it genuinely was a fringe piece for a bit. And now it's at a point where I think it's actually kind of bad, which is unfortunately the reality of building teams like 2 weeks ago before vacation and then coming back and not having a team ready besides this one. I still think Wake was the best choice for the team, though I'll stand by that fully. But it is a lot harder to bring now because of how the format is ebbed. And I think unironically the other Sunflora team I built would have been better for the format despite having no fast mode, because I think Belly Bolt handles a lot of the walls that would have been good into my Sun mode a bit easier. And I think also going without Indeedee was a bit safer too. But actually I think, yeah, whatever. The point being is that I'm here. We have a good matchup for it. We are going to go with the, I think that going with probably, I kind of like going with Side Spam on lead. I like going with Side Spam on lead. Actually, no, we're going to go with, we're going to ditch Hatterene. We're going to go with Torkoal. We're going to go with Torkoal, we're going to go with Sunflora, and we're going to go with Wake. We're going to play the team actually how it was meant to be played, which is a kind of, it's kind of weird. This is really where we're going to see why the Eject Pack Torkoal is necessary, though, because it's a great way to bring in Sunflora quickly. And I think that should hopefully help a lot. I will say, if they're going to lead off with, like, a Sun route, this could get a little dicey. Just because specifically Typhlosion on lead actually could be kind of terrifying. I do need to maneuver that very carefully. They do lead off with Typhlosion here. Good lead choice. I actually do like Torn Typhlosion a lot for them. For what it's worth, I don't have a great Hatterene line with this either. And even if I let off with Wake, Wake isn't going to be the best into this either. I don't know. I didn't really have a great line to this other than leading off with, like, I guess probably Hatterene or Shifu. But Hatterene or Shifu has its own slew of issues. We're going to go for Trick Room here, though. I think Trick Room is definitely my best play at this point. We're going to go for Trick Room. And then I'm going to go for an Overheat into the Tornadus. I think because they let off with Typhlosion, they are not going for Rain Dance this turn. Which actually works out really well for us, because that means that Sunflora is going to be set up as a really nice way to beat Typhlosion because of Tera Ground. So this really, I think this kind of turns into like a perfect matchup to show off the team. We're going to dual dodge Bleak Wind. Kind of crazy, but like I fuck with it. Typhlosion is also revealed to not be Scarf. It probably is Specs or Charcoal. I'm fine with either. That is Charcoal. That is actually not Charcoal. That is definitely Specs. The fact that it killed Torkoal, I'm leaning to believe this is definitely Specs. Okay. It's a kind of a problem, actually. Kind of a big problem. But Wake, thankfully, can chew this pretty confidently. Because we do have Sun up. And even if they go for Rain now, because of the fact that we couldn't get a Trick Room, we're relying on Wake a lot sooner. This actually does kind of work out fine. I need to not burn Tera first, though, because I need Torn to kind of go on the offensive a bit, and I can really only comfortably do that if... So they're going to definitely go for, like, a Tailwind this turn. I think no matter what, they're going for Tailwind. I need to go for Hydro Steam, though, and just kill the Typhlosion. We know that we outpace if they're not going to go for Tailwind. If they go for Tailwind, whatever. They're 4 times resistant to us, even with the... Okay, perfect. They're going to Rain Dance. So they're weakening Typhlosion damage, which is huge. On top of this as well, they're still letting my booster pop, which means I am going to still outpace Typhlosion anyway. And Hydro Steam is still rain boosted, which is the beauty of Wake, and it is why I do truly think Wake is an essential piece of this team. It is for matchups like these where Hydro Steam is just such a free click that it is a really nice partner for Sunflora, because it clears through a lot of the checks without mandating I go for Tera Ground. Now, as I said, I do think Tera Ground will still be the click here. It is great to avoid Torn going through Bleak Wind into it as easily. It's great for Archaludon if that came. It's great for Raging Bolt. So it has a lot of merit. But yeah, so they're going to go into Raging Bolt now. Okay, that's kind of fine. I might honestly just go for Tera Ground and go for Earth Power and just kill the Raging Bolt. And then go for a Hydro Steam into the Torn and just kind of try and neuter that. Because Torn even with Bleak Wind going off, I know it's not super effective, but it is still kind of a heavy hit into both my Pokemon unnecessarily. And if they're going to click Bleak Wind, I would rather just kill them before they can get the move off, because I do have my booster speed still. So I will take advantage of this 100% and go for Bleak Wind. Keeping my Wake not Tera as well is great for avoiding Thunderclap. I don't think they Thunderclap, well, to be fair, they didn't Thunderclap now, but it will become a problem in a couple turns. Thankfully, okay, so I guess they did Thunderclap now. I gave my opponent too much credit. I am sorry to my opponent for overestimating. Hydro Steam is going to go off, though. That's going to be great. And Raging Bolt is going to get farmed by this Earth Power because it did not go for Draco. I think Draco into either of my Pokemon would have been a really good play. I would have been forced to give up a piece. And while I do still think that I could have won, because as I said, like Sunflora does enough damage, and I could have gleamed in the next turn because Wake would have been, because Raging Bolt would have been so weak offensively after their -2, that I would have been fine. Okay, so this is a little bit of a problem. The only real issue with having gone for Tera here, I am now weak to Urshifu Rapid. A little bit unfortunate. It is what it is. We're gonna survive. I am gonna go for a Dazzling Gleam here though, and then I'm gonna go for a Draco Meteor into the Urshifu Rapid. Essentially, if Urshifu goes for Detect, then that's fine because Gleam is gonna pick off the other thing. Draco Meteor gets dodged. Okay, that is the only way I lose this game. They're gonna go for CC into Wake, however, which does actually mean that Sunflora might pick up both kills, question mark. It will definitely kill Wake. It will definitely kill Bolt. Okay, yeah. So the Draco Miss is literally the thing that lost me this match. That's so fucking insane because Sunflora would have cleaned. Sunflora would have cleaned. Justice for Sunflora. Very unfortunate. Yeah, that's super rough. Oh my goodness, yeah. Sunflora would have literally cleaned that. For what it's worth, I mean, so... That's rough. That's so rough. Okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think I still made all of the plays I had to make. They're going for CC. Okay. So, yeah, Sunflora's gonna die anyway. They were choice to Urshifu for sure. Damn. You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. So Sunflora and Wake's only game was a loss. But Sunflora won. It kicked ass this game. We all have to acknowledge Sunflora kicked ass this game. 2, Sunflora was robbed. If you made it this far in the video, I feel at least... If you guys all complimented for Trapinch when it showed up. I need a Sunflora was robbed in the comments if you made it to this far in the video. 1, first person that does it, I'll pin your comment. 2, Sunflora needs the justification here. Sunflora kicked ass in this game. We all have to acknowledge credit where due. It did not even need its bestie Torkoal to pop off because Sunflora lacked Torkoal for most of that game. Shout out to our channel members as well for a couple dollars a month to get some nice bonus content. We have our channel member video for this month going up tomorrow. It should be the, I believe this month is going to be for the Pokemon that fell off the most in this format. Honestly, that poll got kind of buried. I would need to dig for it. But let me double check really quickly because I can scroll for that in the meantime. And I mean, regardless, it should be a fun video either way, whatever video ended up winning for members. Yeah, it's Pokemon that fell off in Regulation F. It should be a very fun video, actually. I have a lot of interesting Pokemon already mapped out for that one. I think it's going to be even better of a video than the last video on the Pokemon that did better in this format. Because I think there's just a lot more to discuss. Because these are a lot more nuanced Pokemon. So if you guys are interested in that, of course, become a channel member. Our current members are Zeke, Mia, Rao, Sakura, Obo, Endless Gadgets, Josh Shake, Ultra Player, and Incog M. Thank you guys so much for your support. It means a lot. Also, members, starting in March, we're going to be bringing back streams. So, streams starting in March. I think literally our first stream back will be March. Okay, never mind. Technically, it's February 29th. I don't know what we're going to be doing yet, but I want to try and bring back streams on Thursdays and Fridays. So, members, you'll have more of a chance to use emotes, etc. Should be a lot of fun. Anyway, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Tomorrow's video, it's going to be either Dozogiri with Glamora, or it's going to be a Namorous Chiyu offense. We'll see. It's going to depend on whichever thumbnail I feel like making more tomorrow. But until then, peace out, guys.